Welcome to this brief tutorial outlining the steps to completing the DRDP 2015 Assessment Instrument. Before we begin, to listen to the narration, use the volume control at the bottom of the screen or use the speaker's volume control. Have a DRDP 2015 infant/toddler view available so you can follow along with this tutorial. To download the instrument, use the Resources tab in the upper right-hand corner. Use the pause and stop buttons on the navigation bar on the bottom of the screen to control this program. Notes will automatically display the script for the narration on the left side panel. This tutorial provides instructions on how to complete the DRDP. Beginning in the 2015-16 program year, Early Education and Support Division EESD funded agencies are required to use the DRDP tech to obtain psychometrically valid reports. For more information, please review Management Bulletin 15-03. The DRDP 2015 is one instrument with three views: the Preschool Comprehensive View for use with preschool-age children, the Preschool Fundamental View for use with preschool-age children, and the Infant/Toddler View for use with infants and toddlers. The DRDP 2015 instrument is structured around developmental domains and measures. Both the infant/toddler and preschool versions have been aligned with their respective foundations. The infant/toddler view includes 5 domains and 29 measures. The Preschool Comprehensive View has 8 domains and 56 measures. The Preschool Fundamental View has 5 domains and 43 measures. The DRDP-K for use with transitional kindergarten and kindergarten has 11 domains and 55 measures. The school-age instrument is for use with children in before and after school programs. The DRDP 2015 Infant/Toddler View for use with infants and toddlers has 5 domains: ATL-REG, Approaches to Learning, Self-Regulation; SED, Social and Emotional Development; LLD, Language and Literacy Development; COG, Cognition, including Math and Science; and PD-HLTH, Physical Development, Health. Step 3. Observe and document. Observe and document each child's typical behavior over time, as each child interacts with other children, adults, and the environment. In the natural program setting, while each child engages in typical activities and routines. The DRDP 2015 has an appendix with many resources pertaining to naturalistic observation. Some examples of the type of documentation you might collect are daily summaries, anecdotal records, photos, videos, checklist, samples of children's work. Include families in the documentation process. Invite families to share their observations of the child. Step 4. Review and reflect. Next, review and reflect on the documentation you have gathered for each child to ensure documentation exists to support the developmental level the child has mastered. Pay special attention to the definitions and descriptors when determining mastery. You may find that you need to go back to collect more documentation in order to accurately determine a developmental level. Step 5. Rate the measures. Consider which developmental level is most consistent with the observations and documentation of the child's typical behavior. Read the descriptors to help make decisions on which developmental level the child has mastered based upon your observations and other documentation of the child's typical behavior. Communication in all languages the child uses should be considered when completing the measures in all domains. What is meant by the term mastered? A child has mastered a developmental level when they typically demonstrate the behavior, consistently over time, in different settings. It is important to remember that children may demonstrate mastery through a variety of communication modes, languages, and behaviors. Fill in one bubble that best describes the child's highest developmental level mastered. Record your ratings in DRDP Tech. Some teachers may prefer to complete a rating record prior to entering data into the DRDP Tech. To make an accurate rating, it is important to see the child with fresh eyes each time the instrument is completed. For that reason, we ask that you do not refer to earlier ratings when completing the DRDP 2015. Other rating options. There are two other rating options you might select: emerging and unable to rate. Let's look at each of these options in turn. Emerging. After marking the developmental level mastered, consider if the child is beginning to sometimes demonstrate behaviors from the next level. As compared to mastered behaviors which are consistent, emerging behaviors are not yet typical or consistent. If you determine that the child is emerging to the next level, mark the bubble labeled Emerging. Use the bottom section of the page to document any evidence of emerging behaviors. Using the emerging bubble is optional and up to the individual teacher. You may mark emerging when rating full continuum measures with infants and toddlers if the child has mastered the last level that can be rated and the child demonstrates some behaviors in the level that follows. If the child is at the last developmental level, do not rate the child as emerging to the next level. Unable to rate. Unable to rate due to extended absence is used only when the child is absent from the program for such an extended period of time during the 4 to 6 weeks prior to submitting your DRDP data that you could not gather information to rate the measures. To summarize, first, become familiar with the assessment instrument and make a plan. Pay special attention to the 4 Ds. Collect documentation on each child's behavior over time. Reflect with others, including family members, on the collected evidence of the child's knowledge, behaviors, and skills. Finally, mark the highest developmental level the child has mastered. You may now replay this tutorial or return to the course page. Click Exit to close this window and return to the course page. Now let's begin with the steps to completing the DRDP. Step 1 is to complete the information page. This contains the child's information and the assessor's/observer's information. Step 2. Get ready. Before collecting authentic assessment evidence, we recommend reading the entire DRDP 2015 to know what behaviors and skills to consider. Pay special attention to the 4 Ds of the assessment: domains, definitions, developmental levels, and descriptors. Plan how you will gather documentation for all children, including observing and documenting dual language learners in their home language and English.